What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Sunset Park. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, it is summer, and with that it's quite hot out there. That just means I don't want to go out throwing lures around the entire day. It takes quite a lot of energy out of you. So the best way to fish is by throwing out some baits, letting them sit in the water, wait for some fish to find us. But just like I don't want to be throwing around lures being too active, so too the fish don't want to be chasing around stuff, especially in the heat of the day. They're not going to be wanting to eat or chase around some other bait fish. So for that reason, it's a good idea to try and do your fishing early in the mornings or late afternoons going into the night. Now that's what we're going to be doing out here tonight at Sunset Park. Again, it's me and the wife out here. Now we're starting late afternoon. I'm going to be fishing into the night, seeing if the fishing picks up. Alright, so being two licensed anglers, we're allowed 2 rods each. So that means we're going to use 4 rods out there today. First rod we have out there, this is my Carp setup. On this we're using big circle hook on a Carolina rig with some chicken breast, hoping to get some catfish, seeing as how they stock this pond with catfish, so hopefully we can get some catfish. The second rod we have out there, that is my Carp setup, and on that we simply have some pack bait and some corn, waiting to see if we can get some carp feeding. And the third rod, that is just some night crawlers, hoping to find some bluegill or anything willing to go for the night crawlers. We got that out there as well. These are the 3 baits that we're going to be soaking out there. But because this is a public park, fish that are in here are highly pressured, can be difficult to find fish. So on the 4th rod, we're just going to use a little light setup, small hook, small pieces of night crawler, see if maybe we can get some tiny bluegill or green sunfish maybe. So that's going to be the plan. We're going to be watching the planes come in, listen to the birds singing while the sun goes down, waiting for some fish to start biting. Not the size I was hoping for today, but we got our first little carp, tiny little baby common carp. Lovely little guy. Let's get him off the hook, back to the water. We have quite a lot of small fish in the area. I think my hook is a bit too big. Only that small carp could get it in his mouth. But it is a bit of a concern to see this much small fish already. That means there can be lots of fish stealing baits. Alright, so we are getting some movement on our little carp setup there. That's some tiny movement. Let's hope it's not these small fish busy stealing our baits. But we'll leave that out there and rebait as needed. See if we can find some bigger fish. For the time being, I'm swapping over to a lot smaller hook. See if I can catch a few of these little fish. And after catching a few, do something different with this rod. Maybe throw it out there with some different baits. And just like that, we got our second tiny little carp. Lots of them swimming around. Want to see if maybe we can find some different fish. I'm not going to show you all of the little fish I'm catching out there. I'll show you a few here and there. And we're going to be doing that while we wait for some bigger fish to hopefully show up. Alright, so after an hour of catching tiny little carp, we finally have something different. We finally got ourselves the bluegill. Lovely colors on this little bluegill. Let's quickly get that hook out, get him back to the water. And just like that, we're back to carp. But this one, it's a lot more silvery rather than gold, but different one. There we go, another bluegill. We do have some bigger bluegill doing the rounds. Every once in a while you'll get some bluegill coming by, but mostly it's tiny carp. Lovely little bluegill. Let's get him back to the water. Alright guys, automatic hook setter went off. No idea what it is. This is the first action we had on any of the big rods today. And even though it was big enough to set off the automatic hook setter, it is a rather small fish. But sadly, don't know what happened, but this fish lost its entire face. So sadly, that little fish didn't make it. We're gonna dispatch of him and throw him away. We're not putting him back to the water. And our second little hook setter went off as well. This is while I'm rebaiting that one. The wife quickly went to the car, so I'm gonna try and get this one. This is on a circle hook. This actually feels like a fish that went into a little hole or something. So it feels like whatever fish had this thing went underneath one of those little black pipes or something. So we feel stuck. So I don't know whether we'll be able to get this. We'll just leave it for a while and see if that fish maybe swims back this way. Otherwise, we'll have to break the line. Alright, so we now gave this rod a while, letting some line out to see if that fish comes back. Now it does not look like that fish is still on there. We let some line out, let it wait a while. Not looking like we're going to get that back. So I think it's about time we cut that line. Alright, so we had hook setter go off again, but it doesn't look like there's anything there. There's no pulling. I'm just going to bring it in, check the baits, rebait, get it back out there. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit darker. This should be the ideal time for some of the catfish to start biting. Right guys, we had the hook setter go off. Wife is quickly going to grab this fish and bring it in. We've been seeing something mess with these baits for a while now. Glad to see something finally grabbed it. There we go. Channel cat landed on the chicken. And we got our little channel cat in the net. You can see some sores on his head. Don't know if this guy has been caught before or something.
Oh, he looks really beaten up.
A little bit beaten up, but we quickly gonna get that hook out of him and have a little look at this fish. Alright.
Looks pretty beat up.
At least we got a channel catfish for tonight. I think this one has been caught before. He's beaten up quite a lot, but no big harm. We're gonna get him back to the water. Rather than dropping him, I think we're gonna lower him in the net. Just one last look at our lovely little channel cat. And he's out of the net. And off he goes. Now at least that little fish got some chicken out of the deal. Alright guys, we've now been fishing here for 5 hours. And in all of this time, we did manage to get quite a lot of fish, quite a lot of small carp and lots of bluegill. But luckily, the wife got on a decent channel catfish out there. And by no means was it boring. We had constant action, constantly having to rebait. but it can be challenging finding these fish. These waters are highly pressured. Even the catfish we did manage to catch, you can see he's been caught before multiple times. And of course, you have to spend a lot of time out there trying to figure out what's the right baits, what these fish want. Now, of course, it's always in the low light conditions when you have your best chance of catching fish, and especially true for catfish. They tend to be nocturnal. But you also do need to remember that these local city park ponds, they tend to close at 11. So you have to plan your visit, because you're not allowed to be fishing these waters after 11. And that is why I'm bringing an end to this video out here tonight. And please do give us a little thumbs up for catching some fish at least. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. But that brings an end to the video. So thank you for watching, and like always, see you next time.